Hey, what is going on there YouTube? This is the Gaming Guy, and today I am bringing you to the full drop list for this week, which is week 10 of the fall winter season. And obviously the majority of the pieces, or the majority of the top pieces, are going to be from the North Face collaboration that we're getting this week. So obviously I've gone over the collaboration a couple of times now, so I'm not going to go into full detail on it. If you want to watch anything, go over the previous videos where I talked about it and went over the collab in general and my thoughts about it, but I'll do quite short summaries for each of the items and what I think based on just what I think of them, and yeah, that will be it. As per norm, let me know down below what you're going to be going for this week, what size, what colorway, what item, or whether you're just going to be leaving this week completely alone. But without further ado, let's get straight into this. And I was wondering, did anybody cop one of the San Francisco box logos yesterday in America, or America and Canada? Were you able to get one? Because I knew that it was sort of coming based on last time when they released the Brooklyn box logo. There was a live cop put out by somebody on a Monday, and yeah, they copped the box logo at that point. So I thought they'd follow the same sort of trend, and they did in the end. So yeah, anyway, let's get into this drop list. Okay, so now let's get into the drop list, since that's the main point of this video. So, kicking off at the top of the list that's made it to the top currently is going to be the Statue of Liberty tee. Now, personally for me, as I said, I'm going to do very short summaries on these pieces. I basically thought on the tee and the hoodie that the graphics were okay, they weren't anything special. If they'd done the same sort of things as previous releases with tees and things, people would still complain. So they went with this, which is probably the safest option. The only thing that I'm not a fan of to do with this piece is that the text, when you look at it up close on the black, doesn't really blend in completely because it's like a navy purple sort of colour. However, on the white it looks great. But then the black background, personally for me, in comparison to the yellow background, doesn't do as strong of a job, and I think that then the black colourway looks quite clean with it included on it. As for the front logo, it is what it is. It's the same sort of thing. It's nice and simple at the end of the day, and they've just gone with the safest option. The same sort of thing applies for the hoodie, as I said. It's the same design, obviously the same thing included on it, and up close it also has the North Face in like embossed sort of look to it. So yeah, there's not a lot to say. They are quite simple, but at the same time, because of that, they are going to be appreciated quite a lot. And to be honest, I don't know whether the resale is going to be there or not for it. I've seen people say there's going to be like £60 to £100 on top straight away that you can get for them, but we're just going to have to wait and see, because personally I don't know whether or not the hoodies normally do resale. So as for that, we're just going to have to wait and see. But yeah, I think that if people want these to wear, they'll be pretty decent to pick up, and you should be able to cop one. Now moving on to the piece that I'm going to be going for this week, the Mountain Parka, or the Mountain Jacket. Yeah, there isn't a lot to say. It's got a packable hood. I mean, it's a mountain parka. At the end of the day, it's a parka. It's the easiest way to put it. Personally for me, I'm going to be going for the yellow colorway. I'm a massive fan of the piece. I'm a massive fan of the collaboration in general. And yeah, at first I was wanting to go for the black colorway because I thought it stood out the most and it was the cleanest. However, after looking at the actual official pictures, this colourway, being the yellow, stuck out for me, and it is the one that I'm going to be going for. On that note, can everyone just go for like the black colourway so that I have a chance at copying this for the personal? Because I really do want it. So yeah, that is going to be the next item on the list. Following that, obviously, it's obviously just going to be the North Face pieces after the North Face pieces, and just continuously they're just going to flow through with the Botero Jacket up next. With this piece, people said that they thought that the design looked a bit better on it, or it looked a bit more clean on the Botero in comparison to the Parka. I feel that it's the opposite way, maybe because the Botero has a bit of a larger space on the back for it, then it opens it up a bit more, but personally for me, I think that it wraps to the Parka a bit better. But yeah, in this piece, I'd probably say the same of either of the two more vivid colours being the better colour choices, just because the black is now looking quite plain and simple in the Botero. Nevertheless, it's still a good item. Regarding the resale and retail prices, I did just want to also go over them, or I will, at the end of the North Face pieces. And to finish off the North Face pieces for this drop list, obviously, we have the waterproof backpack. I saw a lot of people disappointed in this piece because they're wanting more like, I normally have my backpack here, but I don't, a more normal sort of backpack instead of this like oval or round backpack choice. But personally for me, it makes full use of the design or what they have gone with. So yeah, I think it's decent. I don't know whether it's going to resell too much now. It probably will in the future. But yeah, that is the final piece. So moving on to the retails side to things, the mountain parka is going to be $398, which is probably going to be the 378, like I said. It would be in pounds. The Botero is going to be $498, so it might be $478 as well. The backpack is going to be $168, so like $138 or $148, maybe $128. The hoodie is then going to be $138. So maybe like 124 or 128 pounds, and the tee is going to be $54, which is going to be 46 pounds, I believe it was. On the side of the resale for the parka and the Botero, people have had like various opinions based around it of what their expectations are. Personally, for me, it's better not to set your heights too high. So possibly on the day, I would say you'd probably have like £600 or £550 for the parka at a minimum. And then the Botero, I'd say you'd probably go about that, maybe £600 or £700 on the day, maybe a bit lower, same as the parka. And then obviously over a time period, they will go up in price after that, as long as people are happy with them, that is. But yeah, I wouldn't set your expectations massively high, but I'd still say that they should do at least like retail plus half of retail. Like that should be the price point that they should at least be able to hit to. They might go even higher, but that's just what I am feeling for them. So moving on to the rest of the drop list, there are actually a couple of pieces that I do like. There are quite a couple of pieces that I don't like, so let's get into them. So firstly, we have the Polartec crew neck. I'm not a massive fan of it just because it is Polartec. Yeah, there's not a lot to say apart from that. It's got an embroidered logo, which I am a fan of, and I think that the black and the green colorway look quite clean with it on. But at the same time, I won't be getting it just because of what the material is. Next, we have a wool camp cap. I'm not really a fan of any of the colorways except for this like tiger looking colorway that they've got. I think it looks quite cool. And yeah, I haven't seen like a tiger looking print on a camp cap in quite a while. To match the crew neck, we then have the Polartec shorts. Shorts in October. I mean, I wear shorts constantly, but that's just me. But releasing shorts in October, it's a bit late to do so. Personally, for me, probably still the black colorway is the safest choice in these that I think people would go for that should sell out. Maybe even the green as well, but that's if they do sell out at that, because I don't know, it's a bit late to release shorts. I say if they're releasing like joggers or bottoms or something like that, then that'd be a great idea, but yeah. We then have a Jackyard logo taping crusher. Crushers this season, or a couple of crushers this season, have been selling out within a reasonable time frame, so they aren't the worst thing to release. But personally for me, I'd probably say if that is a denim one sitting at the back, then that is probably the one that will sell out. Other than that, maybe the black colorway as well, because that just seems to be a running theme across items today. But yeah, personally for me, I'm not really a crusher person, so I'm not going to be going for that, obviously, but yeah, that is just my take on them. We then have the contrast stitch beanie. Normally with contrast stitch pieces like the hoodies or the tops or anything that they release, I'm not really too much of a fan of them. I don't know what it is, but sometimes they do nothing for me in general. But with this beanie, it's the complete opposite. I think it's really cool. I think, yeah, again, the black colorway or any pretty much of the colorways look great in this. I think that the black is a standout colorway, and then other than that, you could have a red or green for the sort of Christmas season that is coming to be over the next couple of weeks. But yeah, in general, I think this is quite a decent beanie. We then have the velour short sleeve shirt. Personally, for me, I'm not a fan of velour. I sometimes like the designs, but I'm not really a fan of velour in general. It's got the classic Supreme logo, which looks embroidered on it. I'm not really a fan of either of the colorways, but if I was to pick one, I'd probably say this one that has almost like feathers or a pattern going over it is quite decent. But saying that, I'm just not a velour person, and this is not for me. We then have an Upland fleece jacket. This looks so much like the Uniqlo jacket that was recently released. It doesn't really look like anything special. It more looks like something that someone would wear to go fishing, or maybe to go hiking or something. They would wear it because of obviously all of the pockets. But yeah, personally, it isn't for me. I'd say safe colorway would be black in this piece, just because it's the colorway that's usually like first to sell out or goes within the first amount of time. But saying that, this tan sort of colorway could sell as well, but it normally depends on how people do with the North Face collaboration or with the main collaboration for the week as to how other items sell out at the end of the day. Moving on from that, we have a Crest label pocket tee. Being a pocket tee, it'll probably be that premium tee price, which is like 56 to like £78. So just expect it to be around that value. There's nothing really that I can see as special about this piece. I mean, it's literally just a pocket tee. If someone wanted to pick up one of these, they could have just gone for the university tee that was released last week or the week before, and you wouldn't need the addition of the pocket, which would probably bring the price up a little bit on this piece. Next, we have the Pay Me beanie. I mean, it says what it says on it. Personally, for me, if they didn't have the, you know, money bags and things like that on it, I think if they just released the blank sort of beanies with just the embroidered text on it, they would do a lot better, because just a standard blank beanie is what people are after nowadays. So yeah, personally for me, these really do nothing for me. I know Supreme have run with the whole theme of the text saying what it says on a lot of pieces, but yeah, these do nothing for me, unfortunately, in the end. We then have a zebra, or zebra, however you want to pronounce it, long sleeve top. I actually liked this sort of colour or pattern when they released it on a couple of football tops quite a couple of seasons ago. They did this whole sort of theme through and through with like orange, blue and green, I think it was, and maybe a couple of other colourways. I thought they looked pretty cool. I'm not really a massive fan of this piece, but I think that people would possibly still pick it up. I like the big Supreme spell out on the back of it. I think that looks quite decent. But I think if they're going to go with this, maybe run with it through and through on the piece as well, and not just leave it to the sleeves and the upper body. But that's just my opinion of it. And the last item on the list for this week is going to be the shot leather overcoat. These pieces never tend to do well, unfortunately, unless it is a pretty decent jacket or coat that they release with shot. They tend to sit at like the bottom of the list a large majority of the time. So with this piece, it's not really for me in the end, because I'm just not an overcoat person. Especially in leather, that just does nothing for me personally, and the price is probably going to be that, like, I'd either say £498 or £598 or £698 or something like that, just up in the heavens. So yeah, I don't think any of the sizes will sell out unless people really want this piece. And yeah, for me it is just a bit of a yikes personally. It's not the greatest piece. So that is going to cover this drop list. As per norm, let me know your thoughts down below as to what you're going for, what size, what colourway, what piece, or whether you're just going to be sleeping on this week. As I said, personally for me, the mountain parka is obviously going to be the highlight for this week. To summarise the week, I'd say it's a fairly average week. The only reason that people would say it's a decent week is because of the North Face collaboration. However, saying that, there are a couple of pieces that I'm a fan of. I do like this camp cap. I'm also a fan of the beanies. Then again, that's about 3 items that I'm a fan of. This colourway in the velour shirt and a couple of other colourways across a couple of other pieces I am a fan of, but still, at that, it's not an incredible week at that, but it is still going to be highlighted by the collaboration, which is going to bring it up. So that is it from me. If you enjoyed the video, like, be much appreciated. Other than that, I'll bring you to an unboxing tomorrow, because my zine, you know, zine arrived today, as well as the other item clearly, so I will have just a very brief unboxing of that tomorrow. So yeah, thank you for watching. I'll see you all next time. Peace.